All right, so in section 2, what we're going to be focusing on is just solving general applications of percent. So we're going to look at basic questions, and then we're going to finish up with percent increase and percent decrease. So it's not that difficult. It's just how you read the question. I'm going to go over a couple standard examples, and then I'm going to work in this thing called a percent proportion, which we really hammer in section 5. So I know we've all seen this type of problem before, which is what number is 35% of 90, okay? Now, there are a couple of things going on here. First, just one sentence. Second, you got a percent. Well, in math, we never ever use percents when we're trying to find something. What we do is we will always convert the percent to a decimal, okay? Now, there are some keywords here. The first one is going to be this one. If it'll let me change my pen, that'd be great. So the first keyword is right here. Is will always stand for an equal sign. Of will always stand for a multiplication symbol, okay? So if I look at this from left to right, what number is 35% of 90? Well, what number, if we don't know something in math, we abbreviate with an X. Then we have an equal sign. 35% is going to be 0.35. The word of means multiplication. And then we're just going to multiply 0.35 times 90. Okay? So 0.35 times 90 is going to be X equals 31.5. And that's it. That's as hard as this gets. Now, there is another way that we can approach this problem. Okay? And that is called, and I'm going to write this one in a different color. This is the way, honestly, I prefer. And it's called the percent proportion. And like I said, in section 5, we see this a lot. Okay? But the percent proportion is basically a formula that we're going to be using. It looks just like this. And the only number that you really need to be concerned with is this base, because this number, whatever the base happens to be, will always come after the word of. Okay? So wherever you see the word of, the number directly after that is going to be our base. To solve this, and I know a lot of us remember this, all you do is cross multiply. So let me show you how this works, okay? So with our problem, what number is 35% of 90? The first thing I would do is set up my proportion, like so, and I find a percent number. So the percent number is 35. So I just put 35 up here. Now I see the word of, and I look directly to the right, and that is the number 90. So the only thing I don't know is this X up here. Okay? So now that I have my proportion set up, I can go ahead and cross multiply if I wanted to. Oops, sorry. But I always try to reduce this if possible. In fact, anytime you have a fraction, remember, you always want to reduce it if you can. So 35 over 100 reduced is going to be 7 over 20. So now watch what happens. When I cross multiply, all right, I'm going to get 20x equals 7 times 90. And we know 7 times 90 is 630. And when I divide both sides by 20, I get exactly 31.5 again. So there are two ways to do this problem. I'll zoom out. There are two ways to do it. I think the percent proportion is going to get a lot more use because it's easier to set up versus just a sentence where you're supposed to create your own little equation, okay? But what I'm going to do here is I'll do a couple more, and I'll do them both ways so you can see them both, all right? You could do which way you want. All right, so here's our next example here. So we got, wow, there's a lot of, okay, here we go. 40 is 62.5% of what number? Okay? So if we're doing this just the old school way, I see the word is. There's my equal sign. I put a 40 on the left. Now remember, percents we don't use, so we're going to have to take this decimal point and move it 2 places to the left. So it's going to be 0.625. Here's the word of. So that's multiplication. Of what you say? Well, you don't know because it says what number. So we have 40 equals 0.625 times x. So I'm just going to write it again real quick. Now to solve this, you will divide both sides by 0.625. And I think we've reached a point in our math career where we could start using tools to our advantage. And what I mean by that is we've already looked at integers, whole numbers, fractions, decimals. You've already accomplished that stuff. Let's make our lives a little bit easier. Let's use a calculator here. So if I just take 40 divided by 0.625, it's going to give me exactly 64. So x equals 64. Okay? Now, you could do this using the percent proportion. So we got the amount over the base equals the percent over 100. So to set this up, if you read it one more time, 40 is 62.5% of what number? Well, set up your problem. 62.5 is going to go right there. Of what number? Well, the base is going to be x, so that means that 40 has to go directly above. Okay, now from here, if you wanted to, you could just cross multiply. You get 40 times 100 equals 62.5 times x. 40 times 100 is 400. And finally, divide both sides by 62.5. Make your life easy. Use a calculator. So we have 400 divided by 62.5. Oh, that's because I did them. Hold on. Hopefully you're looking at that 6.4 and you're like, that's not right. 40 times 100 is 4,000, not 400. So that was your professor's mistake. So 4,000 divided by 62.5 is 64. All right, so your professor forgot how to multiply factors of 100. But that's okay, because I caught my mistake. So like I said, it doesn't matter which way you do these problems. The only thing that matters, are you setting up the problem properly? Okay, so I'm going to do one more here. All right, like I said, I'll do it both ways. So 126 is what percent of 72? Okay, so I think for this one, I think I'll start off with the percent proportion first. So we got our amount over the base equals the percent over 100. So let's go ahead, let's go through it. So I see, I don't see a percent at all. See how it says what percent? So when I set this up, I'm going to put X up there. Now I see the word of. I look directly to the right. It's going to be 72, which means 126. Oh, 126 has to go above. So from here, I'll just, well, that 126 over 72 I can reduce. So I'm going to do that first. So 126 over 72 turns out to be 7 over 4 after you prime factorize and you reduce. Now this seems to be a lot easier. Cross multiply. 7 times 100 equals 4 times x, which means 700 equals 4x. Finally, I divide both sides by 4. So on my calculator, 700 divided by 4 is 175. All right, that's a fantastic thing. Okay, so the percent, maybe I should just write percent symbol next to that. 175%. Okay? Now, if we were to do this the other way, let me try to move this here a little bit. I'll put you right there. Because I just want to write the problem out again. 126 is what percent of 72? I see the is, which I know that's my equal sign. Now, what percent, I don't know. I put an X. And now I see the word of, and 72 is to the right of that. So to kind of clean this up a little bit here, I'm just going to write it as 126 equals 72x. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to divide both sides by 72. Okay, so when I do that, 126 divided by, 126 divided, that's why I hate using these calculators. 126 divided by 72 equals 1.75. However, and this is why I don't use, this is the only reason why I don't like using the just set up the equation method, is this is a decimal number. What you need to do is convert it into a percent. So we know we got to take that 1.75 and move it 2 places to the right to give us 175%. Okay? So if you use the percent proportion, you never ever have to worry about that ever. If you are going directly into like an equation, like we did right here on the right-hand side of your screen, you got to remember you're going to get a decimal as an answer. You still need to convert that into a percent. So it's an additional step. Too many times have I seen students get these problems wrong because they forgot to do that step. Okay? So that's going to be, I guess, it for these types of problems. What we're going to move into now is finding percent of increase and decrease. So find percent increase and decrease. Okay? So it's actually pretty simple. We'll focus on the increasing first. So step 1 is to find the amount of increase. Find amount of increase. Now, to do this, your increase is going to equal the new amount minus the original amount. Okay? And then step 2, you're going to divide by the original amount and convert to percent. All right? Now, it may look like a lot, but it's not. It's really easy. Okay? So let me do like a little example here. So in 2011, CCAC, or better yet, CCAC's price per credit was $78. In 2021, the price per credit is $85. Find the percent increase. Okay? So when you think about this, the first thing we want to do is just let's find how much it's increased by. So our increase, so I guess this is step 1. The increase is going to be the new amount minus the original amount. So increase is going to equal 85 minus 78, which is 7. Okay? So now what we're going to do in step 2 is we're going to take that number 7, and I'm going to write it like this. Percent increase is going to equal 7 divided by the original amount, which is 78. And then to convert this into a decimal, to convert it into a percent, you're going to multiply by 100 and add that percent symbol in the end. So 7, let's get our calculator out here. Put it up over here. Clear it out. So 7 divided by 78 equals 0.0897, all that decimal, right? Multiply it by 100, or move the decimal place 2 places to the right. So our percent, oh, why didn't it stay there? There we go. So our percent increase is going to equal 8.97, I'll round to 2 decimal places, percent. Okay, so over the last, 10 years? Yeah, 2021 to 2011. So over the last 10 years, the cost of tuition, or the cost per credit, has increased by 8.9%, or just, if you just want to round it to 9%, that's fine with me. But that is how we find percent increase. All right, let's do one more. We'll do another example here. Oh, let's do this one. This one's going to be good. I have to look some things up. So I'm gonna really date myself here. Oh, this is gonna be bad. So in 1996, gas prices in Pennsylvania averaged $1.23 per gallon. In 2021, the average gas price in PA is $3.50 per gallon. Find the percent increase in gas. Okay? So let's see here. So step 1, let's find that increase. So it's going to be $3.50 minus $1.23. So the increase is going to be $2.27. Oh, I wrote 77. $2.27. All right. Now step 2. Percent increase is going to equal that number, $2.27, divided by the original amount, which is $1.23. And then, like I said, you're going to multiply by 100 and then add your percent symbol. So $2.27, or 2.27, divided by 1.23. Oh, that's ugly. Is going to be 1.845. So we'll round it to just 2 decimal places, or we'll round it to 1 decimal place. We'll say 1.8. Okay. Now I got to move this 2 places to the right. 1, 2. So gas has gone up since 1996, 180%. Okay? Which you would think is a lot. I agree with you. I think 180% increase is a lot. All right. But education has gone up over 500% since the late 90s. So somebody got smart and said, well, a lot more people are going to school, so let's jack up the prices. And that's exactly what they did. All right, so we just did a couple problems with percent increase. I think now we need to focus on a couple problems. We're going to find percent decrease. Okay, and this one is honestly, it's practically the same. Step one, we're going to find our decrease. So decrease is going to equal the original amount minus the new amount. Okay, and then step two, you're going to take, all right, let me write it like this. Percent decrease is going to equal the decrease amount from step one divided by the original. And then you multiply by 100 and add that percent symbol. Okay? So let's go ahead. Let's do a problem here. All right, so let's see here. The population of one city was about 672,000 people in 2010. All right. The city's population, or the city is, we'll say it like this. The population of the city is projected to decrease to 630,000 in the year 2020. Find the percent decrease. All right, so step one, let's find that decrease amount. So decrease is going to equal the original 672,000 minus the new amount 630,000. So 672,000 minus 630,000 is going to be equal to 42,000. And then step two, you're going to take that amount and find the percent decrease. So the percent decrease is going to equal 42,000 divided by 672,000. We're going to take that result, multiply by 100, and add our percent symbol. So percent decrease is going to equal, and I'm just going to make my life easier. I'm going to use my calculator here. Let's clear it out. So we got 42,000 divided by 672,000. It's going to equal 0.00625, but if we multiply this by 100, we get 6.25%. And that is our percent decrease. So that's going to be it for this video. Just make sure you understand how to, from section 1, convert, and then this one, set up your equation using the old school way or the percent proportion way, and then percent increase or percent decrease. See ya.